Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me for part 3, the final of how to paint this adorable little Shihtzu.
What do you think? Isn't she cute?
I hope you watched 1 and 2 and you enjoyed it. In my opinion, part 3 is always the best because it is the area where I brighten up the eyes, the nose, do all those final little details, bring in some fine hair. I put more details in her hat. I lighten up the band because I'll explain that in the video. Perfect example of how you can easily change a painting. Add, take away, all that stuff very easily. And let me know what you think about it. My next tutorial is going to be listed in the playlist for party paintings and easy acrylic paintings. So I hope you enjoy that too. It's going to be a tropical scene, a beach scene with 2 little children playing in the sand along the shoreline. Just a fun, easy little acrylic painting. I hope you join me for that. And to all you new subscribers, welcome to my channel. For all you that have been here with me, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me for part 3 of how to paint this adorable little Shihtzu. Let's get painting. Here I had taken cerulean blue and made some streaks in that body of water, and now I'm taking some titanium white and putting foam over bits and parts of the streaks that I put in the water, adding some texture to the water. And here just adding bits of shadow in and about around that foam area. Now I've taken the parchment color and I'm just putting in some fine hairs, lightening up different areas where I felt it needed to be brighter, and just adding some texture, another layer, some finer hairs on top of the darker sections that I have there. So with that parchment color, I'm going around in different areas where it needed to be highlighted a bit more. And I'm using just the edge of a 1/4 inch ankle brush, which gives me a nice fine line, and adding those with the parchment all along the mustache area and around the eyes, just some fine hairs you can see there. So many little details, and all of these details are very important. With a little bit of parchment, I am putting some texture on the bottom part of the lip, where actually the hairs kind of come from that texture. So you see I'm pulling the hairs down there. So here on the lip I've taken burnt umber with some crimson red, and I'm just pulling it on the top of the lip there to where it's shadowed from the upper lip, or the hairs that come up over the mouth, come down over the mouth. And I'm just pulling it in and around in just little tiny sections throughout the lip, just to make it more realistic. So it's adding texture to the lip. So here I'm taking that pink color that I have been using all along, and I sort of water it down to a glaze and just sort of accent in areas where I felt like that color was present. Just pulling that over certain areas. Add a little bit of pink up here. Continuing on with that pink color in areas where it needs to be. Oh good, so you can see better with it angled like this. Here you can see my reference photo. Okay, so here I'm going to darken up this nose a little bit more. I hope that you all enjoyed watching part 1 and part 2 of this pet portrait of Amber Bell. Let me know in the comments what you thought. I hope that it wasn't too long and drawn out. I try to shorten them as much as I possibly can. They take me a while to do. So I just want to share the highlights with you and some of the things that I think might help you if you want to paint a dog portrait like this. She has a cute little pug nose, doesn't she? So when painting this type of a nose, you want to make sure it's darkest in the little crease down the middle of the nose, and then on the bottom sides of the nose, on each side of the nose, you'll have it darker where it's shadowed because it's like a little pug, and then that's going to give it that three-dimensional look. Working on more layers of the pink. As you can see, there's quite a bit of areas where this pink is accented. So now again with a fine brush, I'm taking the parchment color and I'm just adding some fine hairs. She has that choppy little haircut. So I'm adding some of those fine little hairs on the ears, helping them to stand out a bit. Pulling them in the direction going downward. And in the process of doing this, I'm showing that there's a difference between, you know, the face hairs. Here I'm showing some of the facial hairs and the ears. And a lot of the hairs just came over the ears. And also on the side here, adding that little bit of hair that comes out in front of the hat helps the puppy's face to stand out a bit more. We are getting there. I'm actually gonna come in and kind of define this a little bit more. And this part that goes around that little low area. Okay, I'm going to add just a teeny little bit of some sparkles on the nose here. Just the teeniest little bit. Just around that little nostril. And then just a little bit here. I lightened the band on the hat. It just stood out too bold and too bright. My little trick I do is I close my eyes and and then open my eyes. And if when you do that, your eyes immediately go to a particular part of the painting, not the part that you want a person to focus on, then you have to make a correction. And if you go back a little frame or two, and you look at how dark that band was, and just stop your YouTube and close your eyes and open it, the first thing your eye goes to is this. And what we want is the first thing for it to go to is this little face, and you want all these other things to complement it, but you definitely don't want to open your eyes and see that, because that means the first thing that a person looks at when they look at the picture is that band. Yeah, it's even still bothering me a little bit. I also wanted to add a little bit more shadow down here underneath the hat. So I added just a tiny little bit of black, and I want to add that along the inside rim of where the hair is, but it needs to be more shadowed here. So in doing that, I'm just going to add a little deep shadow. Just a little deep shadow there. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little deep shadow into the curve of this as well. Okay, so then that makes the hat, you know, stand out more and puts the dog back. The hat's up in front, of course. So I actually am going to take a little tiny bit of parchment, and I want to go along the rim of the hat just in little short light strokes like this. Just a little bit. This is part of the painting process where you're just continually tweaking things. Another reason that this stood out so boldly is that this had a shadow, and there wouldn't be a shadow here because this is actually the rim of the hat that's kind of bent up over, so it would actually have a lighter color. So I'm going to add parchment onto that, and this might help that that rim to stop sticking out like a sore thumb. So I'm actually putting a little highlight all along the top of this part of the hat. Yeah. And I can kind of pull it down a little bit. You know, this light color, I can just kind of pull it down a little bit into the hat too. Because it's sticking up, so it would be lighter. Yeah. Just kind of feathering that a little bit. And I want to blend the shadow in a little bit. And I'm just going to blend this darker shadow, just kind of blend it a little bit into the fur, so it's not, you definitely don't want to see a hard line, but you want to see, you know, definitely a nice dark shadow back there. So that rim is hanging down, so it would definitely be casting a shadow, a deep shadow right exactly below it, and then a little bit down. So this is feeling a lot more comfortable to me as far as that goes, but I want to take and put just kind of accent this a little bit more, and I think I might even just use white with the parchment. white is really great for just kind of going along the edges to make things just pop. So it's going to kind of mute it even a little bit more. Okay. A few little curlies coming out. Just kind of going in every different direction. So here I'm just taking some titanium white with a little bit of phthalo blue, just the tiniest bit, brightening up the highlights of these adorable little eyes, or big eyes. You see, as I add a little tiny bit of the white on the lip here, it adds an appearance of wet on the lip and just helps it to pop a bit. So as I add these tiny bits of white highlights everywhere, watch how the painting just comes to life, adding the highlights around the eyes and the sparkles in the eyes and on the nose and on the lip. It just helps that painting to become so realistic looking. So as you see, I'm using a very fine detail brush, just adding some details all around wherever it need be. So I just wanted to add a little more there and a little more here. And what I'm using is burnt umber and the parchment. And I also wanted to pull a little bit more, even though because of the way his head is turned, more of the white showed here than here, but it just felt like I needed a little tiny bit more throughout here. There. I like the little hat. I just wanted to add some very fine little strokes through here and just kind of in and around a little bit. And this is actually got enough dark brown, darker tan, but I wanted to just add a few little up the fine hairs. I don't want to get into every little hair because that's really not necessary. I just want to have, you know, enough to where it just adds a little definition, a little interest, and a little realism to it. And here, his little haircut, I'm just going to bring some of those little darker hairs a little lighter than the dark that I had here, and then a little bit of the dark coming over this way. And I'm just bringing a few little darker hairs kind of in and about up here. And then up in here, just a few. And I had just, you know, put all that sort of pink hairs in there, but I'm just bringing a couple of the little dark ones around. the little ear was more of like a little blunt cut, so that's why I'm just adding a little bit more of the blunt cut there. I hope you're enjoying the tutorial, and I hope you join me for my next tutorial that'll be posted fairly soon. Here I'm just adding some dark shadows back into the fur in different areas where I see that it should be a bit darker. Just adds so much interest when you layer the paint on like this, and it takes so many layers to create the look of real fur. So I hope you enjoyed this and you've learned something. I appreciate you being here with me, and I look forward to painting with you again in the future. And hopefully I've given you a little bit of some little tips or ideas on how you can paint your little pup. I hope that you're getting some ideas from my videos. It's fun to see different artist techniques. I love watching other painters as well, and I hope that you're enjoying this, and I'd love to hear from you. I don't get a lot of comments lately, I mean at all actually, on my new channel. I have quite a few new subscribers, and I'm so grateful to you for joining my little art community. I hope that my channel will be enjoyable for you, and but I would love it if you'd let me know what you think. Negative or positive would be fine. Just be kind about it. If it's negative, please. That's all I ask, just to be kind about it. What I see in the art community, it seems that it's a lot of nice folks, not real. It doesn't draw a real bad crowd. Do you agree? It draws a pretty nice crowd, which is wonderful. I just wanted to add a little bit of a darker here because I wanted it to appear to be more bent right here. Kind of smoothing that out a little. Got a little bit too much going on there. All right. What do you think, guys? Adorable? Tomorrow I'll varnish it and look nice and shiny. And I'm just going to darken this up just a teeny bit more up underneath that part of the just right along the rim underneath. Without messing up any little paint that I just did on this cute little face. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you join me for the next tutorial. Please like and subscribe, and if you haven't already, and hit the bell for upcoming notifications. And that's it, and I signed my name here. I like the ball, looks nice and dimensional. So this down here got a little bit too black, so I actually just went back in at the little bit of my cad red, white, and burnt umber together to make it more of a pinky brown in these areas. And then I took some of the cad red and white and a little bit less of the brown to go around this part of the eye. And then I just wanted to pull a little bit of that brown out there. And I also brought a tiny little bit of black up in here, and some burnt umber, just make the eyes a little bit richer in color. You know, sometimes you can just go a little bit too much, so I don't want to do that. I don't want to keep on going where I regret that I continued and that I didn't stop at the stopping point that I had planned. So I'm just going to kind of glaze up here into this pink section. Not glaze it in, but just lightly brush in a little bit, because somehow a lot of the pigment had gotten washed out somehow. So I just wanted to kind of darken that up a little bit on that part of the nose. And then I noticed that it also came around the eyes a bit. But I'm using more of the cad red just for a little bit more drama here. Just kind of pulling it in there a little bit. Okay. That's all, guys. I'm done. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone. Have fun painting your little puppy. Take care.